What up, guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're talking about The Rock confirming that he did purchase the XFL, the sport of professional football, because he played at the University of Miami and he was a Hurricane, but he just wasn't good enough for the NFL because at the time he was playing with savages like Ray Lewis and Warren Sapp, and he tried. But when you're playing with Warren Sapp and Ray Lewis on your team, it's like you're still a badass player, but you're just not as good. So The Rock made his way to the CFL and basically did not make it up there as well. So that's why he became a professional wrestler. But he's always had a itch for professional football because he thought his goal in his career would have took him down the Ray Lewis path and he would have been a professional NFL player. But now, because during the pandemic in the 2020 season of the XFL, you had one of the best football seasons in a very long time. I watched like every game, and you had teams like the Tampa Bay Vipers, which were really good, and they were starting to get a lot better and progressive season from being a losing season to being a good season. And a lot of these players are now currently signing with NFL, and a lot of these players like PJ Walker were very good standouts. They were maybe a good college player at the time, played in the XFL, and the XFL gave them the ability to show and shine and show their skills, so they were able to go from maybe being a good college guy or a very good arena football player and never made it to the NFL level. But now, because of the XFL, it gives people paychecks to play, and it gives players the ability to go out and have fun again. Because some of these players might not be NFL level quality. They're right here. Here's NFL, and here's them like right below, like they're right below. But they're just not over the hump to get to that level. And the XFL was a league that I think is what they call a feeder league. A feeder league for myself is a league that really tries really hard to have the best players they can possibly have play professional football at a high level. And when the XFL is feeding some of the players into the NFL, that's a good thing because it shows that the XFL does have players that are good enough to actually play at the highest level. And then it made him a superstar because he was kind of like Michael Vick. He would run a lot. He could run, he could take hits, he could give and deliver hits, and he was a cool running back. You had a lot of guys that were very good standouts in like Notre Dame or UCLA, but they couldn't break into the NFL, so this was a league that they were able to make their name. But because of the 2020 pandemic, that league basically had to shut down after only being open for maybe like 6 weeks. And they said Seattle and St. Louis were bringing out 17,000 fans every game, and on TV they were getting around 900 to a million views, 900,000 to a million views. And some of these games were getting better views than what was out at the time, because in February and March you really have no sporting events besides NASCAR and some college sports, but this was still beating those sports out. And The Rock has come out saying, hey, I wanted to purchase it because it's basically, I'm a big fan of football, and I think with his platform he can take the XFL and make it something that Vince McMahon never could. Vince McMahon is a guy who's known for professional wrestling, and I think when you look at professional wrestling, you think of Vince McMahon, but you don't think of Vince McMahon as a sports team like owner. You don't think of him owning like the Jaguars or owning anything like that. All you think of him as like owning professional wrestling, and that's what he was good at, is owning the professional wrestling industry. He's like the god of professional wrestling. When you think wrestling, you think of Vince McMahon. You don't think of Vince McMahon like owning the NFL or the XFL or whatever professional league. So when you're getting somebody who's very passionate in football and wanted to play football at the highest level, and when you go back and look at Rock's footage of him in college, he was a beast and he did phenomenally a great job. We have somebody at a high level like The Rock that can really market it. He has a big platform. He gets a couple 100 million views every time he post stuff about it, so he can start posting little clips, little vlogs about it, and people will tune in because it's The Rock. And I believe when I watched the 2020 XFL, it was a different outlook than what the 2001 XFL was. The 2020 XFL felt like a real professional football league. It did have that college aspect to it, but these players were a little bit better than college, but not as good as the NFL. And you look at it, the very first couple games, like the first 3 or 4 games, you can say, yeah, these players weren't that great. But once you started seeing the team settle down and settle into the season, when it got to like game day level 6 and 7, you realize, oh, these guys were really good. The team started getting better. They stopped making mistakes, and it became a real league. And people were showing up and actually watching these games. And I was planning on going on March 16th to a Tampa Bay Vipers game against the DC Defenders. And I was really looking forward to seeing that in person. Now that you have The Rock coming out saying, I purchased this league is going to be around. So I think once the pandemic stops after the XFL, after the NFL season, he's going to bring this back, and I think people are going to start watching it again. I want sports to come back because I want them to be normalized. I want to be able to go to a sporting event and see sporting events in person. I don't want to sit back and just watch it on TV and have stupid cardboard cutout fans, or have fans on a TV screen, or have nobody in the crowd. I think what the Jacksonville Jaguars are doing here in 2020, they're saying, hey, we're going to allow 17,000 fans to show up to our arena and watch the games in person because we know how to make it a safe environment. So at the end of the day, when the XFL comes around and it's The Rock, he's going to be able to market it and really know what he's doing, because look what he's done to the professional wrestling world. He became one of the biggest professional wrestlers, one of the biggest actors, and he has one of the biggest Instagrams. So he knows how to market himself. So I'm assuming he knows how to market the NFL type of football, because that's what it is. It's almost NFL quality level football, because we all know that it's great to have NFL football, college football, but between the Super Bowl and when football starts up again, there's really no quality football besides maybe arena football. But arena football is a very different feel than what you see in college or NFL. Because I went to the Jacksonville Sharks championship football game, and that was the first time I actually sat down and watched a full football game of the Arena Football League, and it's very different. It's only 53 yards, and just the way they play, it's a very different feel than what the NFL offers. And I think the XFL is not trying to be the NFL. It's not trying to be like the stepchild of the NFL. I think what they're doing is they're just trying to make high-level quality football with high-level players who might not be able to make it to the NFL, but they still get their shine and still get their notoriety and still get kind of famous for playing the game that they love. So as always, let me know what you guys think of this in the comment section below. Are you excited that The Rock has purchased the XFL, or are you guys just like, I don't really give a damn? As long as we get normal sports again, that's all that matters. I still know a lot of people who didn't even watch the XFL. They watched like the first 2 games when the XFL first started. And this is talking to hardcore football fans at my work who love football. They watch it religiously, but they never fell in love with the XFL. I don't know if it's because the XFL, they didn't know the players, they didn't know the teams, and they didn't know who to root for. So it was just like, I'm not going to watch that. They watched the first 2 games, and maybe the first 2 games is when you've seen a lot of teams have a lot of struggles and a lot of problems. They were just like, this sucks. This ain't what I tuned in for. I tune in to watch high-level quality sports, not this amateur status stuff. It's like going to see Metallica. You know, when you see Metallica live in concert, you're going to get the highest quality performance possible. But when you go see Billy's Metallica cover band, it's not going to be the same thing. It's going to be good quality, but it's not going to be the Metallica that you know. It's just going to be Jimmy's Metallica cover band. But as always, that's my take on The Rock finally purchasing the XFL.